How did ancient humans find work? No resume, no interview, no boss posting a listing, just a world full of things that needed doing and a group of people who had to figure it out together. You apply for jobs, you scroll listings, you update your skills section, but for 95% of human history, none of that existed. Work wasn't something you found, it was something you were already inside. And then, slowly, something changed. Groups got bigger, food got stored, and suddenly, for the first time in 2 million years, someone had to decide what everyone's job was. Right now, finding work means navigating a system. Interviews, credentials, specializations, contracts. That entire architecture is roughly 5,000 years old. For most of human existence, the Paleolithic, the Old Stone Age, people lived in small bands of 20 to 50 individuals. We know this from sites like Pinnacle Point in South Africa, occupied by Homo sapiens, use, modern humans, around 164,000 years ago. In those bands, nobody posted a job. Nobody hired you. Work roles emerged from 3 things: your age, your sex, and what you turned out to be good at. That's it. Those were your job placement criteria. Studies of living hunter-gatherer groups, like the Hadza of Tanzania, who still live this way today, show that men did most of the hunting, women did most of the gathering. But these weren't strict rules. They were tendencies, flexible guidelines shaped by necessity. Children helped from age 6 or 7. Elders taught, watched, and made decisions. Everyone contributed. No one sat out. This was the labor market for 290,000 years. No wages, no clock, no Monday. Just the group's survival as the only metric that mattered. Then, roughly 12,000 years ago, something enormous happened. People started farming. The Neolithic, the farming era, changed everything about work. You couldn't wander anymore. You were tied to the land, and the land created more food than one family could eat. Which meant, for the first time, some people didn't have to grow food. They could do something else. And that single shift, that tiny crack in the old order, is where every job in human history begins. Here's how it actually worked. In a hunter-gatherer band, you didn't choose your role. Your role grew around you. From childhood, you watched, you copied, you helped with small tasks until you could manage big ones. Anthropologists call this observational learning, watching and doing, not sitting in a classroom. But there was also specialization, even in the Stone Age. At sites in the Blombos Cave in South Africa, dated to 75,000 years ago, archaeologists found engraved ochre, chong, red pigment rocks carved with patterns. That takes skill. That takes practice. Not everyone in the group made those. Someone was already, in a very real sense, the group's craftsman. Now, fast forward to the Neolithic, the farming era. Around 10,000 BC, villages of 150 to 300 people began forming in the Fertile Crescent, the region between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in modern-day Iraq. In a village that size, the band's old flexible system started to crack. Too many people, too many tasks, too much stored grain. So roles hardened. Potters made pots, weavers wove, builders built, traders moved goods between villages, healers tended the sick, and warriors protected the surplus. This is the moment in history when your job stopped being what you did and became who you were. By 3500 BC in Mesopotamia, the first true cities in modern-day Iraq, labor was tracked on clay tablets, Ur-Namma's law codes, and the administrative records of Uruk, one of the world's first cities, list workers by name, role, and ration. Name, role, ration. That's a payroll, the oldest payroll in history. Rations of barley, a grain, in exchange for specific labor. Not chosen, assigned. You didn't find your job in Uruk. Your job found you, and it found you based on who your father was. The hereditary trade, skills passed down through families, was now the norm, not a career choice. A birth assignment. Here's the part nobody mentions. In hunter-gatherer bands, people quit. Not dramatically, just quietly. If you were a bad hunter and a great napper, a stone tool maker, you drifted toward napping. The group benefited. Nobody complained. Evolutionary anthropologist Kim Sterelny's research suggests that early human bands were far more tolerant of individual difference than the rigid labor systems that came later. The band needed results, not conformity. Now here's the gross part. In early farming settlements, around 7000 BC, the skeletal remains of workers at Çatalhöyük, a Neolithic village in Turkey, show massive wear and injury on specific parts of the body. Grinders' knees, weavers' spines, farm workers' teeth worn flat from processing grain. Your body didn't lie about what job you had. These early specialized workers aged faster. They were physically marked by their profession in a way no hunter-gatherer had been. The first specialization brought the first occupational injury. Work was no longer just survival, it was now identity. And here's the wildest detail of all. Some of the earliest written records we have are not stories, not laws, they're receipts. The Sumerian administrative texts from Uruk, dating to around 3100 BC, record how much beer each worker received. Beer, not gold, not coins. Beer was standardized payment. It had calories, it was nutritious, it was consistent, and it was measured. Every worker got a set amount per day based on their role and status. The world's first performance review was probably a scribe looking at a clay tablet and deciding whether you got full rations or short rations. Full cup, short cup. That is the original performance bonus, 5,000 years before your last pay stub. So what does any of this mean for you? The modern job market feels enormous and complicated. Credentials, specializations, performance reviews, LinkedIn. But strip it all back. The core logic hasn't changed. A group has needs, individuals have skills. The matching of one to the other is the entire history of employment. For most of prehistory, that matching was fluid and kind. You watched, you learned, you drifted to what you were good at. Then agriculture arrived and the drift stopped. Roles hardened into identities. Identities hardened into castes. The beer ration became the paycheck. The clay tablet became the spreadsheet. The Sumerian administrator became your manager. The structure changed shape. The shape never changed. Your resume is 5,000 years old. The needed answers is 300,000 years older than that. You're still just a member of the band, trying to pull your weight.